Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1.5 EU Championship. We're today for the Japanese Grand Prix, round 11 out of 16. We've got a bit of cloud and a bit of sliding, Tokyo drifting for Terence. Not quite in the correct location for that, and it's not the fastest way through the corner. We're a few minutes into qualifying right now. Devon Young sets the current pole time, but Becken is in P10, disqualified from the session on pit lane exit. So I'm not entirely sure what's happened there, but he is out of the session. He's going to have to start last. Luckily for him, there's not too many people in the lobby. Oggio drops out last minute, but Senna gets in last minute to compete once again. Hopefully he can have a good result, having so much pace in recent times, just missing out. Unfortunately, it always seems to be Sector 3 that gets him over these last couple of races. We'll see how it goes, but Tom Brainer, the only other one out on track. Talking about Tom Brainer, he has had a phenomenal run of races now, 2 podiums in a row, looking to try and get another one. He doesn't feel as confident as before, but I think he can still do a good job. It is a crazy circuit, anything can happen. We've always had banger races around here. I'm going to go to the final corner with Terence to set his first lap of the session. That's a P6 of 28.4, and still away behind Tom Brainer, who is next up to try and improve. A classic circuit. It's a very, very, very tricky one to get right. There's a lot of bumps, which can make braking zones pretty difficult as well, especially the pit lane entry. As we saw Heischler speeding on pit lane entry, you can just kind of misjudge how fast you're going into the corner, and the car just rattles around, and all of a sudden you've got yourself a time penalty. These drivers have got to make sure that they're aware of that. It does look like it's going to rain as well, but I don't think it will. They said it's all clear, so we'll believe them. It's just qualifying, maybe the clouds are out. We might get a bit of sun going into the race. That would be nice for sure, of course. But yeah, we'll see. We've got a few minutes left on the clock, not that long, so enough for about 2 runs. Unless you leave it a minute or 2 later, then you're probably only going to get 1 run in, but sometime at least. Now, Tom Brainer starts his final lap. Interestingly, not final lap, sorry, he starts his next lap. Interestingly, holding it tight to the right to start it, which is, yeah, a strange one, but hooks up turn 1 quite nicely. Riding turn 2, going to have to lift on the off the throttle to keep the car stable there, so we'll lose that a little bit, but as they continue through the S's, they manage to fix it up a little bit until they get to 6, try and bring it back to the apex, the late apex, to make sure that they open up turn 7, aka Dunlop corner. Now we get to the Degners, first and seconds. Good old Senderuni, and sent it even harder on the second one, but unfortunately goes off the circuit as he went over the curb, which just kind of pointed his car outwards. We've got Senna now. We're going to watch him board with this man instead. Pole position quite a few times this season. On the exit, a bit squirmy, but he's trying his best. And up the hill. Tentative with the gearing, but down the gears. That's the 5th, up to 6th, up the hill, on the throttle, to the exit line, getting as risky as he dare, and he did a very good job of that, not going over too much. Misses the inside slightly on the first Degner, but will be able to recover it on the second one. Now we've got the hairpin coming up on the brake bias a little bit so you don't lock up the rears too easy. You want a little bit of rear locking to try and get the car rotated, in this game at least, and then on the throttle incredibly hard to get it right. You've got some positive camber with you, but like I said, the circuit is so bumpy, it's very easy to lose traction at that part. And we get into the first part of Spoon, and on the second, he unfortunately backs off. You have to give that one in, and we will not see an improvement. We will maybe have a look at an improvement with the championship leader at the moment, as he manages to get in front of Peanuts after the last race. We'll have a quick look at that. I think he's backed off. We'll just double check. He has backed off. So a quick look at the championship standings on your screen right now. That is Devon Young now taking the lead for the first time this season, and he's looking to try and extend it if he can today. Peanuts will definitely want to come back, and they are topping the times, both of these guys, right now as it stands. So doing a phenomenal job to keep the championship alight. It's awesome stuff to see. The 2 McLarens fighting closely as well. Becken, not going to be too happy with that starting position, but it's a long old race and anything can happen, so I don't think he's going to be too worried about that. Charlie and Ogyu not competing today, so Tom Brainer, I think he can bump himself up 2 positions right here, and maybe the Ferraris as well. They could get themselves a position or 2 if they do very well as well. Now, onto the constructors, you can see Red Bull are ahead. The gap wasn't that big, and it's not actually that big compared to F1, of course, if you look at that one. And McLaren are a little way back, but they can still recover it. And then everyone else is kind of on their own. Ferrari's kind of ahead of everyone behind. Tom Brainer, a couple points from his teammate earlier in the season, but in a bit of a one-man show at this stage of the championship, unfortunately. But yeah. Red Bull, very strong. Only one driver today, though. Becken, Robbo, Terrence and Peanuts are going to take a big chunk out of that one, I am sure. We'll see how it goes, though. We're going to go back on board with Senna as he takes his in-lap. And wait to see if we can find somebody going on an out-lap as he's completely missed that one. Whoopsie daisy. Didn't mean to get that done. Hey-ho. He carries on. Now, Jaromir, he has set his lap recently, so 28.7. Little off Terrence, but he still has more time to try and improve. Dave Raptors, he will not be setting a lap in qualifying. He is a higher tier driver, but he is racing, of course, in the lower tier. Just going to try and get some laps in as he makes his return to LSI for a little while out, I will be honest. But it's good to see him, that is for sure. No one wanting to go out just yet, waiting for the later stages, waiting for track evolution to kick in, and that is quite important around the first sector of this circuit. That being said, JJ has only just managed to get himself back into the lobby. Yeah, unfortunately, no real big shock for Becken disqualifying on exit of the pit lane. Just maybe going a little bit too slow, and the game has just kind of made a snap judgment and disqualified them. It's just the way it goes, unfortunately, and it needs to be fixed, but that's all I can pray for. It needs to be fixed, but don't know if it ever will be. We've got Tom Brainer on his way out of the pit lane, the first one on track. A lot of time, of course, to complete this final run, but if he makes a mistake, he can go again. That's maybe what he's looking for here, and he could possibly bag himself a quite clear track on his first run at least, if he does plan this out right. It could work out, but yeah, there are going to be a lot of people coming out of the pit lane, more or less when he starts his lap, but he might be absolutely fine. I'm sure we'll see in about 30 seconds to a minute time, we'll see some other people coming out as well. That is kind of the sweet spot to make sure you get some good time to warm up those tyres, but still leave it as late as possible. As you see, the Aston and one of the Ferraris are on their way to try and improve right here. Tom Brainer is going to be the first one up to look at another great qualifying session if he can. Getting pole position in the manic weather conditions, of course, in Belgium. It was a Ferrari 1-2 with Senna and JJ topping the times for a moment, but spoilt by the Haas. A Ferrari engine, but not exactly the red team. The red, white and black team instead. And now, yeah, he wants to try and get that good result, because it really does help. When you have a good qualifying position, you can have a very good race, and this is what Tom has proved to himself in the recent races. And he's unfortunately spun on his outlap, opening the corner. Luckily, he hasn't started it too much, but it might invalidate if he's not careful. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think it has, so he will be able to go, but he's got some really green tyres. He's not going to be happy with that one. We'll see if he continues or not, though, as he warms his tyres up, and he is just going to wait. He's going to burn the fuel a bit more. Unfortunately, he will lose out on a bit of tyre wear, but yeah, I think that's the best opportunity just to try and maybe save and go again in a bit. We've got Terrence on his way. We've got Senna, who is really looking to try and get another pole this season. He was very, very quick in Belgium. As I said, it was a Ferrari 1-2, and this man had the top spot until the soft tyre runners kicked in, and Tom Brainer got that one in the end. Alrighty, here we go. Senna. Can he get the job done on the exit? Nice and smooth. Using the inside curb, but opening the corner up, more importantly, to get the best top line speed, straight line speed, or top speed down the start finish straight into turn 1, and you brake just as you leave the inside curb, and then when you get to the next curve, you're on the throttle again. Bit of an oversteery moment. Nice save though. Not going to be too happy with themselves with it, but they managed to pick it up in the later part of the S's. Now they go up through Dunlop and will get a timing for their Delta as they go off the circuit and crash out of qualifying. That is going to be them, unfortunately. I do apologise for that one. Hey ho, it happens. We now continue with, that is Robbo, currently on a lap, his final run, looking to try and upset again. Of course, fighting at the front before everything kicked off at Belgium. He got the win in Silverstone, his home Grand Prix, so he is on some good momentum pace-wise. He did obviously have a big gamble on tyres though, which didn't work out, and he didn't get the result that he wanted, but still, he was putting on a good show. Now, he's looking to try and do that again today. A few seasons ago, if it was not last season, he did have a bit of a issue at this circuit, spinning into the pit lane entry on exit and ending his race early, but I don't think you can do that again, surely not, so he will be able to get a good result here in the McLaren car. Up the back stretch they go now, a long old wait before you get to 130R. You can almost forget that you're driving on the circuit and then just completely miss the corner. This time he keeps it all together. Now heavy braking for the final time, 125 metres more or less. Cut that inside curve nicely, ride the other one as well, and on the exit just keep it tight to the right hand side, minimise track distance. DRS available. What's it going to be for Robbo? It's going to be a 27.183, and it's so close. So close to Devon Young. Peanuts, what can he do? That is Tom Brainerd, P5. He will not improve anymore. JJ finishes his qualifying. That is it. It is just Peanuts and Devon Young for the rest of the session. The two championship rivals trying to start on the front row of the grid. What can Peanuts do here in the final corner? It's going to be as it is. It will not be an improvement. Devon's got pole either way. Will he try and improve? He will. What's it going to be for the Brit? He's going to get it. We didn't quite get to see, but it doesn't matter. And that is a very important pole position around Suzuka. You have a very nice run into the first corner by half a second. This man has done it by. That's incredible. Devon Young on pole, Robbo in P2, and Peanuts in P3. We scroll through the race director just in case. We'll be back for the race. Sorry for the wind, and we'll see you in a bit. Ready, hold! Go! Who's going to get it into turn one? We're away. Devon Young off the line very, very well. Peanuts not so much. Tom Brainer into P3 already. Terence wants to have a go as well, but he will not get it. Peanuts swoops around the outside. The Ferraris are side by side as they exit turn two. Who's going to come out in front? JJ's to the inside line. Now to the inside is Senna, but he's going to get the understeer. He forces his teammate slightly wide. That's going to be Becken already to P7 off the line from back of the field. Absolutely incredible. We go up the hill. Dave Raptor's forced onto the curb and he's not going to hold on to that one. Down to P10 he goes, but Devon Young holding on to a strong P1. The top three stay as they are, and Tom Brainer manages to jump in front of Terence. Absolutely phenomenal start from Tom Brainer. Just a real big shame that he didn't get any further in front, of course, but it is what it is. JJ and Senna fighting so hard, allowing Becken to get through, and yeah, he's going to try and make his early charge if he can. Peanuts is going to lose that position to Tom Brainer, who's pushing on that softer tyre. You can see he's on that medium wall tyre, whereas the white hard wall tyre is what Peanuts is on. So he's looking for a different strategy right here. And we can expect Tom Brainer to continue to push on. Terence might also try and do this as well with the fresher rubber that they have. He's just going to make it work. It's not going to be easy, but around a circuit like this where there's only one DRS zone, it is the circuit to get the job done at regarding tyres. It's also a big loss if you're stuck behind a harder tyre compound driver when you're starting a race, because in the S section you're going to lose a massive amount of time. Now, Peanuts has lost that position, but he's got to be careful that he doesn't lose any more time, because he's already got a big gap between himself and Tom Brainer. He's got to pull things together right here. It's not going to get any easier for him if he doesn't do that. Jaromir not working out on the soft tyres, unfortunately. He does lose that position. He's nice and close though, so he can still do quite well here. It's going to be Becken and JJ switching positions. Becken making the move before the Degner. That's how you get it done. And no questions asked. JJ just letting that one happen is definitely not worth the risk going side by side at that corner, which we did see yesterday. It doesn't go too well on two different occasions, but it is what it is. Now, Becken has got a medium tyre runner up next, the two Aston Martins to try and get through. On lap 2 out of 27, there's a long way to go, and he's done a very good job to get where he is right now. Now, with Devon Young, he's got a bit of pressure, but regarding qualifying, he just seems like an absolute beast. So if he can get even maybe a second by the time he gets to the end of the next lap, he might be able to break away from DRS and call it a day. That being said, safety cars could be a factor. That also being said, if you do push on the energy, it doesn't guarantee that you'll break away. And if you don't break away, then all of a sudden the cars behind will have DRS. You have no energy left because you push so hard, and then you're just going to lose out. So it's got to be something that he's going to be considering, of course, but 6/10, is it enough? Is he going to try and think about a longer game? That qualifying pace was absolutely unreal. However, whether that's a couple of drivers making mistakes or not, I don't know. But he was pretty quick yesterday. It wasn't bad at all. Now Peanuts getting the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so he is catching back up. He's got back in the groove, and he could maybe make that move on Tom Brainer earlier than we all expected. If he does continue to put fast laps in. Of course, DRS trains and dirty air do make things very difficult for certain drivers, especially being in P3 in a train. It's incredibly hard to actually get anything done. He will get a dose of DRS, but if he's not getting close enough to make a move in the corners, then I don't think we'll see a move on the straights with that double DRS. So Tom Brainer's got to try and dig a bit deeper, find a bit more pace in that car if he wants to make some progress. That is Jaromir getting back in front of Dave Raptors, so proving me wrong on what tyre I was saying what was working earlier on. It is working quite nicely. Becken still close behind these guys, but they're all in a DRS train now, so it's going to be virtually impossible to make any move. 7/10 at the end of this lap for Devon Young, but Robbo doesn't let it slide easily. He gets that toe and he'll bring it back down to 5/10 in the end. No one else will be close enough, however. They will just continue. Jaromir wasn't far away from JJ, or Senna I should say, to be fair, but not quite close enough to actually get any kind of sense. Dave Raptors, not Devon Young, Dave Raptors returns to the field, and he's going to be just sitting behind for the moment. That hard tyre will not be that easy to get through for now, but when it does drop off, you can start to push, of course. Devon Young with Robbo behind in the McLaren. Robbo is doing a good job. He's maintaining that gap now. Whether he's got the ability to keep it up or not, these guys are both pushing on the energy. So, believe it or not, Tom Brain is actually the one looking the best, despite being on that medium tyre and not catching up that much. He does seem to be like he's relaxing a little bit more, maybe. I don't quite know. Maybe he's waiting to go for a move when one of them makes a mistake. That is a very possible solution, because when you get to higher levels of racing, you have to kind of wait for people to make mistakes rather than actually taking positions. Unless you want to really get stuff done in the later stages of the Grand Prix, then you do have to go for some sends. But Tom Brainer might need to start using a bit more energy if he does want to go for that move. Maybe try and just absolutely send it. I don't quite know, but I will say Robbo not had the easiest of laps there. He had to use a lot of battery to try and catch up to Devon Young, and if he can't do that again, I don't know what's going to happen, because ERS is not going to be available. My words are jumbled up completely, and I'll go back to that in a little bit, but that is going to be Jaromir into the wall. Will that be a safety car? It will be a virtual safety car at least. And that was a hell of a shame. That soft tyre is absolutely baking. Side-by-side racing, pushing the temperatures to the limit. And unfortunately, that's going to be how it goes. Will we see a pit stop from anyone here? Maybe Tom Brainer and Terence can make it work. From what we saw yesterday, we saw it could possibly work if you go to the hards all the way to the end. It would be incredibly difficult, but not impossible. Now, it's an idea. It's not a safe idea, but I think it is still probably worth going for this pit stop for those guys. Whether Devon, Robbo, the race leaders would make that call and everyone else would follow on, I'm not entirely sure. Double medium is on the cards, of course. I think if Devon does pit, Robbo will probably pit, and then everyone will pit. If Devon doesn't pit, then Robbo's got a bit of a decision to make, of course. We'll see how it goes, though. Time will tell. Is Devon Young going into the pit lane, or is he going to stay out at the final chicane? Will he keep it right, and what will the McLaren do as well? He will stay out. Everyone else will stay out. Tom Brainer will stay out. Will Terence go into the pit lane? Jaromir gets a drive-through for speeding in the pit lane, and under safety car, and no one will go into the pit lane. Everyone is going to stay on the safer tyre. Just let it be. It's fair enough. It is fair enough, but I'm surprised that we didn't see anybody taking any risks. Obviously, Terence and Tom Brainer have the most of reason to make a change. It is only a virtual though, so maybe I'm getting way too excited for that, of course. Anyway, we continue, and Peanuts has got a very good restart here on Tom Brainer, very close to the back of him. That bit of peak performance will have been lost from that medium tyre now, so Peanuts has really caught him off guard, and he's actually lost a lot of time to the top two in front, so that means that maybe Peanuts has done enough to get Tom Brainer out of a DRS battle so he can make that move a bit easier and then see if he can catch up. He did get the fastest lap earlier on, of course, so he is quick. He still holds that fastest lap as well. Not by a massive amount, but he still does have the accolade, I guess you could say. Being said, he did get DRS and slipstream from when he set that lap, whereas Devon Young only a short moment away from his fastest lap, Peanuts, and he didn't have any. He just had clean air. Clean air is an advantage in itself, though. DRS is available here for Peanuts, but in that final sector on the straight, Tom Brainer has done a mega job to be able to catch up to the cars in front. Not enough to get DRS range just yet. He might have a chance to catch it in the S section. These tyres are still fairly fresh, but it's not the easiest of jobs. Getting that poor reaction off the safety car restart creates so much work for you to get done. And that is really what he's suffering from right now. Peanuts hasn't lost DRS range. After all of that, he is incredibly close, but still not quite in a position to make a move, especially maintain that move on this tyre. I think if he did go for the move this early on in the Grand Prix, Tom Brainer will probably try and take it back, and then both guys will end up just losing out even more after all that. Thank you, mate. In the chat, I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Anyway, I don't want to get distracted. We continue. Robbo and Devon Young lead the way. Only a tenth away is Tom Brainer. Will he be able to push? Oh no, he's pushed too hard! He's into the wall! I do not believe it! Tom Brainer on the exit spoon curve is out of the Grand Prix on lap 7. The full safety car is deployed, and we get a very, very quick decision having to be made from the race leaders. Devon Young, will he pit? Will he stay out? I think it's going to have to be a pit stop for a full safety car. Of course he does make it a pit stop. That's going to be Terence having to suffer from a bit of a double stack, but he has no choice. What a shame as well for Becken as well. But Tom Brainer, that's a 5 second for Terence to add to the drama. I do not believe what I've just seen. Loses the car on the exit, a spoon corner. I was just saying that he needs to push a little bit more, and I think he rode that exit curb, got the time penalty because he went over track limits and then lost the car. That is a textbook crash, but not in a good way. That is such a shame for his sake right there. A safety car at this part of the race for him would have been phenomenal tyre-wise, but it's just a shame that he's the one that has suffered and caused that safety car. Terence is now on a hard tyre. He has lost track position because of the double stack, of course, but he's not in a bad position either. Got to be careful and how it goes. I just want to quickly double check. Those are 5 seconds for JJ and Terence. They both have that must be a speeding penalty for both of them. At least it is for Terence. So they're going to have to try and make this work a little bit later on. Unfortunately, Dave Raptor's disconnecting from the session. Hopefully he can get back in a little bit, but what a shame from the Haas driver. 2 podiums in a row and now a DNF. No points on the board for him. He will not be able to push in front of Charlie and Oggio in the championship fight after all of that. Maybe someone else can, but it will be very, very tough. Lap 8 out of 27, we will be going racing on around about lap 9 out of 20, so lap 10 out of 27 I should say. So still a long way to go in this race, about 18 laps when we do get that green flag, of course. Now 9 drivers in the running with 8 drivers scoring points. Dave Raptors being a higher tier driver, hopefully he can get back in, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to wait and see if he can get into that car. But it does look like he is still a ghost car at the moment. That is going to be JJ and Terence, obviously serving their time penalties. Is that going to be onto a set of mediums here for Terence, or is he going to go onto a set of hards? He looks like he's going for a set of mediums right now. So he will end up on exactly the same strategy as everyone else. JJ will jump him there. He was already in front, actually. Never mind. I scratched that. But yeah, we continue. They both serve their time penalties. They'll be on equal runnings as everyone else. They do lose their position to Jaromir. So that is, I guess, their punishment for that one. But we'll see how it goes for them in a few moments' time. They have slightly fresher tyres than everyone, which will definitely help. But I don't think they'll be able to go to the end of the Grand Prix. We'll see. We did see a few people attempting to go to the end of the Grand Prix. That is going to be JJ getting another drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. He won't be able to serve this one, though. He is going to have to just continue now, and the safety car will go in at the end of this lap, which is a hell of a shame, but it is what it is. Nothing you can do with that. As I was saying, though, tyre-wise, we shouldn't need... we should need some pit stops. We will probably get some pit stops. I think some people are definitely going to try and extend all the way to the end, because it's not impossible. Whether it will work or not, though, I don't quite know. I think it is going to be beneficial to go for a severe undercut. It's just whether anyone tries to make that commitment to an undercut and risk losing out if there was a safety car to be deployed. But if it does work out, it will pay massively if you get it right, and I think we can see a few people maybe doing that as well. The strategy is wide open, and the safety car should be called in within the next few seconds, really. It looks like it might be a late one. It apparently is. There you go. I was going to say apparently it isn't coming in, but it will be called in incredibly late. It's going to be Devon Young. Right behind is Robbo to react to the safety car. They're incredibly close. Everyone's bunching up just about. The safety car is going to be in now, and we go racing yet again in Japan. That is a phenomenal start there from Becken. He's going to try and jump Peanuts into the first corner. He has the outside line. Will he be able to hold on to it? I don't quite know, and he backs off, does Peanuts, and he spins the car. Let's Dave Raptors come through as well. Dave Raptors into P3 at the Grand Prix. I do not believe it. Peanuts lucky to stay in this race after that mistake there, and now his championship rival is in P1, 3 cars in front. Absolutely mental stuff from these guys right here, but a brilliant start from Dave Raptors, and he's looking to try and improve even further if he can. As a higher tier driver, it doesn't matter where he finishes, but he's looking to try and get that P1. That would be phenomenal to see from him. That's JJ getting a great exit here on Yarmir, making that move already, and that is not going to be anything Yarmir can do about it. Those tyres are not dead, but definitely a lot older, which will give of course, Terence and JJ a big advantage. Devon Young holds on to the lead. Very comfortable for him. Robbo right there. And Dave Raptors making up the gap between himself and the current tier drivers in front of him and behind him, of course. Now, no moves on the back straight. Everyone's a little bit too far away, but we will see a move here from Terence. Just further behind, gets the move done before 130R. He knows what he needs to do. These tyres can be very useful for him, and he had great pace at the start of the Grand Prix, so I don't see why he can't get a good result here. That is going to be JJ serving a penalty right there immediately while he can get it done. A hell of a shame, but it is what it is. It's just how it runs sometimes. Now, Robbo has got a second life of being able to keep on the back of Devon Young, of course. He had not really much energy to use in that car, and it looked like within the next few laps he was about to lose DRS, and that would have been it. But no, it's been replenished under safety car conditions, and it allows Robbo to catch back up and maintain putting the pressure on the Red Bull driver, of course, who is looking just to try and extend the championship lead. Of course, they want to win the Grand Prix, but as long as they finish in front of Peanuts, they will be able to make that gap that they've really wanted to try and get. Now, Dave Raptors not too close behind these guys, so needs to try and pick up the pace if he wants to try and improve forward, of course. It doesn't make it easy for Becken if he's got a car in between, and he might want to try and have a go at going for a win. Of course, we saw him fight for that awesome P1 in Singapore, which Devon Young ended up getting in the end, but it was a brilliant battle for sure, which hopefully we can maybe see. Becken we know is a brilliant racer, but just had some bad luck in the past, and in recent races just not been at the front where he really deserves to be. Devon Young fastest lap. Becken immediately follows, so he is proving that he's pretty quick in that car. We've got Senna who's picking up their pace after a bit of a stint into the Grand Prix. They've got things warmed up and they're ready to go now. Start to pushing and improving the lap times. Maybe put the pressure on Peanuts. Maybe try and make some moves here and there. Maybe even look for a win if they can. They've done it before. They might be able to do it again, that's for sure. We'll see. Hungary, believe they won that Grand Prix. I think that was their first win. If I'm not wrong, they did a phenomenal job. It was a very, very entertaining one, that is for sure. Now, he might be able to give us another show today, regardless of where he finishes, with this second life that he's now been able to find, and he's with the pack at the moment. That being said, Peanuts is not with the pack. He's just lost DRS range to the front runners. He's got a lot of work to do if he does want to get that DRS, but 1.1 seconds, it's not going to be easy to gain, especially on a straight where everyone's going to be pushing. Will we see Becken try and push for a move here on Dave Raptors, or is he going to wait behind? Depends on what his pace is looking like by the time they get to the end of the straight. Dave Raptors is looking pretty rapid in the straight line. He needs to try and stay within DRS for his race, but Robbo is not really worrying at the moment. That being said, he's not looking like he's got an easy time on the battery. Neither is Devon Young. They are both pushing quite hard, these two. It's not easy at all. DRS is available, and this could be a change for the lead for the first time this Grand Prix. It will not. He will maintain that P1 or Devon. Robbo not close enough, and it's not like it's the last lap, so he would not send it to turn 2, but he does make a mistake. And Robbo is liking that. He can see the car ahead is struggling, and he's all of a sudden got the upper hand in the battle. If the car ahead is making mistakes, he should be good to go now. That is absolutely incredible. A massive turning point in the Grand Prix here. Devon Young could be in trouble after all of that. I thought he was pretty strong before the safety car, but after the safety car, maybe not quite finding that rhythm, and the two Brits are going to be maybe switching up. It is Brit 1, 2, 3, and then of course McLaren and Aston Martin being British teams in 4th and 5th. It is I'm not patriotic, but it's pretty cool. Anyway, we continue. Devon Young has all the pressure in the world at the moment. The advantage of the higher tier driver behind him does mean he has a buffer to third place, of course, but he doesn't really want to care about third place, to be honest. You always want to win as a driver, and coming P2 is basically losing. Of course, points-wise, if you can just get an advantage, it would be absolutely phenomenal. But when you're the championship leader, then you really do want to get those P1s in as best as you possibly can. And this guy knows a lot about P1s and F1.5. He's done a lot of them in his time. Dave Raptors having terrible luck at the start of his career, just not getting any wins. But then as soon as he got one, he just started getting loads. And he got that championship last season, of course, which is why he is a higher tier driver today. Now, Becken, 9/10. Caught up a lot previously, got the fastest lap in, but now has dropped back a little bit. Just needs a little bit more if he wants to get that DRS range. Peanuts, 1/10 dropped in the last kind of lap really, so he's not had an easy time, but he's maintaining the gap just out of DRS, which is actually a lot harder than you can imagine. It's an interesting situation for him to be in. He's managed to maintain DRS, but just outside of it, which is actually quite impressive, because usually you'd expect it to extend over a lap. Now, Becken has managed to maintain or get that DRS back nice and safely. He should be good to go, but everyone's kind of gridlocked at the moment. There's not too much happening. The bottom three, Terence, Yarmir and JJ, have actually split up, unfortunately. I don't know what's happened to Terence with his kind of fresher tyres, but Yarmir and JJ must have those issues. Of course, JJ had to make that extra pit stop, which he didn't necessarily want to make, but he's on slightly fresher tyres, and he might be able to start breaking away, or catching up, I say. He's not too far away, but then that is a big straight at the backstretch, of course, which you do get through, so he will be able to gain a lot of time from that. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, he's not that far away. He can still get a good result here. The other Ferrari looking for a good result as well, though. That is going to be Senna pushing in front of Peanuts after that. Now, they are 8/10 away from Becken, but will we see the Ferrari be able to start pushing and maybe catch up to the McLaren driver here? Get both of these guys back in the DRS train that they really need if they want to fight for the lead here. Devon Young and Robbo so close, closer than they've ever been before, except from a couple of laps ago, of course, since we saw him kind of being pushed up the hill, basically. That is Peanuts making that move immediately on Senna. Senna making maybe another mistake at Dunlop again. I don't know if he just maybe returned the position. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, as you're saying, the top two, these guys have been fighting since race 1 of this championship, looking to be championship contenders, but DNFing after that first Grand Prix in Spain, which gave Peanuts the Grand Prix victory. Now he's 2.5 seconds behind the guys in front, so he's really struggling to try and catch back up. He's just got to hope that these guys start to fight, but at the moment they're all locked in and they're not worrying about the cars behind. They are racing their own race. They understand the situation. The tyre situation is going to be very crucial, and they need to make sure that they focus on that rather than the cars behind, and they're doing it. A phenomenal entry here for Robbo, with a brilliant exit there for Devon Young. Is it going to be enough though? I don't think it will. We will probably get the first switch of the lead of the Grand Prix. Devon's trying to hold on to it as best as he can. Has the inside line to the outside. Is going to be Robbo. Will he get the traction on the exit? It's not going to be. It's going to be Devon Young. That's incredibly close between the two. It's just about as close as it's ever going to get. Devon Young holds on to the lead of the Grand Prix, and Robbo will sit in that P2 spot in the end. Very, very interesting stuff. Robbo's not going to be happy, but he's going to be more motivated than ever to make that move, and ERS is going to be probably saved over the next few laps. He didn't get the move done right then. It seems that that Red Bull is pretty slippery when it comes to top speed. Maybe not DRS initially. That's how Robbo managed to get himself alongside, but yeah, we'll see. There's a bit of a fight there, which might have helped out Peanuts and Senna to be able to catch back up, but unfortunately for their sake, they haven't managed to gain much time at all. That's going to be a big mistake there for Devon Young. That could be the race lead already over before we get to the DRS zone. Would Robbo dare to make that move before the chicane? He'll probably get DRS detection beforehand. He's going to go to the outside line. Devon will go defensive, but he's not going to try and get the move done. Forces the Red Bull to make a bit of a mistake. You can see he's all over the place on the rear end, under braking. That's going to be pretty much slam dunk here for Robbo. He's right behind, butted up against him in the gearbox. DRS, ERS being used. He now has the inside line, which is a big mistake here from Devon Young. That's going to be Robbo leading the Grand Prix for the first time this evening. Absolutely incredible. Devon Young spots the inside just to make sure that he knows he's still under pressure, Robbo, but no, it's not going to work. Robbo now leads the Grand Prix. He has clean air for the first time. Will he be quicker? Will he be quicker than we've ever thought? Will he be able to just break away at this stage? I don't quite know. But Devon Young is definitely not going to want that to happen very easily. Just making a couple mistakes. He's still got a long way to go in this Grand Prix. He can still get a good result, but that's not what he needed to do. He's been so good in the past at leading Grand Prix. That's how he's won them. Sitting in P2, it's not going to be so straightforward, and he's not going to be wanting to get any time penalties within dirty air. He's got to be super careful. It's still strong, but yeah, it's not going to be so straightforward. Now, what we did miss in the meantime of that battle, Becken went for that undercut. He's gone for the pit stop. It might be that some others then react and maybe try and go for a pit stop as well. Maybe that's why Robbo's been fighting on these past two laps. We will see Devon Young once again to the outside line. He's not going to be side by side, as that is the McLaren, of course, braking nice and late. Very close between the two. Not going to try and undercut. He is going to try and stay out more. I think they might try and continue these guys. They're going to once again be going side by side. I think he's going to get the move done before the corner, though. That is going to be Devon Young leading the Grand Prix. Lovely stuff. Easily done. And yeah, not as tight as it was on the last lap, but it wasn't exactly easy either. Very close stuff between these guys. I'm really excited to see what happens here with Becken. He's got 11 seconds to the cars in front, so he has got clean air to start trying to make some progress. Of course, he has just had to make a move on Jaromir, but he still has got those impressive tyres, which are going to be super useful, especially in the first sector. And the middle sector, more or less. Kind of the third sector would not really be so advantageous. Of course, the end of the middle sector really is where the big straight is. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't know how it will go. Those tyres should be more and more advantageous as the other tyres from the other drivers that haven't pitted continue to wear, of course. Now, will somebody else try and go for maybe a soft tyre within the next couple of laps? I don't know. Devon Young and Robbo have obviously got a big decision to make. as they are the race leaders, if whatever they do does have a massive impact on the rest of their Grand Prix, and we could see a big upset, or we could see just a safe gamble and these guys try and maintain track position. I say safe, it's not going to be safe for Devon Young. He's going to take that opportunity. Now all of a sudden pitting does become safe because Robbo's probably going to have to react, although Peanuts doesn't. Devon Young's gone for the soft. He waited a couple laps later after Becken and then goes for that pit stop. And he had track position before. Whether he'll come out in front or not of Becken or not, I don't quite know. Becken is going to get a very nice undercut right there. So he's got to try and get past Becken and then catch up to everyone else. He doesn't get behind Jaromir, however. He will stay in front and get a nice bit of an undercut. So he's going to be pushing. The question is, will Robbo start to think? Will he be like, okay, you know what, I'm going to stay out. I'm going to stay out, and I hope that gap is enough. We'll have a quick look at the gap to the leader. That is, what, 16 seconds that he's got to try and do just under 10 laps, about, what was that, 9 laps, 8 laps of the Grand Prix. It's going to be not easy, but it's going to be very possible. The tyres shouldn't pop by the end of the Grand Prix. They're going to be very, very dead, that is for sure, but they should definitely not pop. Now, he has got his old teammate, a higher tier driver, of course, with him. He doesn't need to necessarily fight him because they score different points, but they can work together and use him as a utility, of course, because he's a high tier driver. If you can give him DRS, that will definitely help. Whether he will get DRS or not, I don't know. I think he's probably just going to be a bit of a bump stop. Note, they are going to give each other a bit of a tow, so they will continue to work together up the front, which will always be an advantage. It's not like they've planned that, it's just how it's gone, and Dave Raptors leads the Grand Prix for the first time this evening now. Peanuts into P3. He's got a lot to think about, and he's got a couple cars that he's going to have to probably defend from, with Becken and Devon Young trying to make that comeback. Any luck would show a safety car for Robbo, of course, and Peanuts, maybe even Terence as well. He's also up there. He has 1 lap fresher tyres, so he should be pretty safe from a puncture, of course, but it's not going to be easy for any of these guys at the moment. It's going to be incredibly tough. Their tyres are going to be super dead, and I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Senna's also made that pit stop. He's now past Jaromir, and he's also trying to go for that undercut. These guys making these earlier pit stops, it does kind of make them a bit more comfortable, and all of a sudden now Robbo might as well just not pit, to be honest. Devon Young has pitted on a very good time for the soft tyre, whereas Becken, he's pitted on a perfect time for that medium tyre. He's got a nice undercut over the guys that do opt for that soft tyre, which is only Devon Young, and then he's got a lot of time to then make back a gap to the other cars. Now, he does have a big gap, that is for sure, but as I've said many times this evening, it's only going to get easier. These tyres are going to be perfectly fine to the end of the Grand Prix, whereas everybody else's, they're going to exponentially get slower. So he has a 15-second gap right now, which hasn't really changed that much. It's only just over a second, or just about 2 seconds in the last couple of laps, which is not enough to be able to win this Grand Prix, but as this circuit has very high load, very high speed corners, that is exactly where the tyres will struggle. Of course, traction is not easy, and we do have some pretty heavy traction zones in the hairpin and the chicane, but high speed is really where you're going to gain a massive amount of time with fresher tyres, and it's going to be an advantageous spot. Sector 1 for those guys that have pitted. Now, Becken 5 seconds away from Terence. That should be more or less a slam dunk to be able to make that work. Devon Young isn't catching Becken as much as I thought he would, so he is maybe not working too well on that soft tyre. Those softs may be overheating a little bit, and Becken, he's in an incredibly strong position. JJ has not made that pit stop, but does get in front of Jaromir all of a sudden. Would we see any pit stops between these guys? I really don't think we are. I think we're just going to see the top two kind of drive on their merry way, and Robbo will, I was going to say, save VRS for when the other guys potentially catch up, but Looks like he was using a bit to make sure that he maintains that gap with Dave Raptors. The last thing he wants to do is lose out, of course. Peanuts 4.2 seconds in front. If it stays as it is, this is phenomenal for him. He's got his teammate right behind him, scoring great points, taking a chunk out of Red Bull, and so will McLaren in this situation as well. But he's also got 2 cars in between him and his championship rival, which would then put him back into the lead of the championship. On round 11, of course, not too many races to go. Now we get to the closing stages of the season. Lap 22 out of 27, coming to the closing stages of the Japanese Grand Prix this evening as well. And it's looking very, very, very interesting. Kind of a bit of a mutual war between everybody. Devon Young, all of a sudden, banged in a phenomenal lap to now catch up to Becken. Said, kind of, you know what? Screw you, I'm going to go and put a quick lap in. I'm sure he wasn't thinking that. I'm sure it's just driving the car and what happened. But yeah, we'll see. 3.9 seconds, lap 22 out of 27. At this rate, it might even be enough for Terence to be able to hold on, and that is a podium, because Dave Raptor's a higher tier driver, scores different points. That means Robbo for EU Championship standings. Robbo takes that win. Peanuts is looking at a P2 and Terence a P3, which would be phenomenal for Aston Martin. Absolutely amazing, and they'll be able to catch up incredibly and break away from McLaren potentially. They would actually... no, they wouldn't. I don't think they will. They'd be on even points with McLaren, I think, if my maths are correct. Anyway, we'll look at that afterwards, of course. We continue with the race in the moment. Lap 23 out of 27. They are counting down. This man is the guy to watch, of course. Devon Young is getting close. And maybe, if it gets to too late in the Grand Prix, he'll have to think, you know what, I'm not actually going to bother trying to catch up to the cars in front. I'm just going to try and get in front of you, Beckham. That P4 is pretty valuable for my championship, and I want to get it done. Although, by the time we get to the end of the Grand Prix, his tyres aren't going to get any better compared to that medium. So he's got to make sure he catches up now, or never really. Make sure that he saves a bit of energy in the DRS and then goes for that move. Peanuts. He's got a lot to lose in this situation, but not a lot that he can actually do. He's just got to drive the car. So has Robbo, so has Terence, and the other guys have got to push with everything they can. It's still not over. As I said, those tyres are going to exponentially slower, so it will be not impossible for these guys to get even further than we thought. 13 seconds, though, to the race leader. That is absolutely nuts. Robbo has, of course, he does have a very nice advantage over the cars behind. He's gained about 2 seconds, maybe, or a second and a half overall on Peanuts since a few laps ago. Dave Raptor's giving him that, of course, is definitely going to help. How much will it have helped by? I'm not entirely sure, but it will definitely give him a little bit of a boost. Devon Young within DRS range now to try and attack that. McLaren, of course, at the later stages, if need be. Now, Robbo isn't exactly saving. He's got a bit of battery, but not a massive amount. And still pushing to make sure that he does maintain that gap to Dave Raptors. With Peanuts sitting in P3. 5 seconds in front of his teammate. Aston Martin are looking for a good result here. It's still under pressure, however, as that is under 2 seconds now that Terence has the gap to the cars behind. All of a sudden, though, Devon Young has also got nice and close to the back of the McLaren. No energy available for both drivers. So they're going to have to try and jostle for position themselves and then go for a move on that Aston Martin, looking for a P3 for today's race. It's really not going to look easy. There's going to be a few decisions made and a couple of drivers' heads, and it's not going to look nice. It's not going to look nice at all. We've got Devon Young going for the move into the chicane, and he's going to get it done, I think. Forces the McLaren onto the curb. Will the McLaren get the DRS, or will it be the Red Bull? Neither of them got the DRS, so it is a pure run down to the first corner. He's going to have to go defensive. It's Devon. There's a bit of contact. They just about get through the corner together, and now Devon Young is in P5. and running away, possibly with the gap if he can really make these soft tyres work, but I don't know. They might not be faster than that medium tyre that Becken has, of course, but they'll definitely be quicker than Terence at the moment with 16 lap old medium tyres. Now, the question is, how much will he be able to catch up, and will he be able to catch up to the Aston Martin driver? And by the end of the race, will he be able to maintain that gap? Will Terence be able to put a bit of a masterful defence on this race and maintain that lead? DRS is looking inevitable for Devon Young at this stage of the Grand Prix, and it's going to be third place at best for these guys unless we see a mistake in front. It was a risky strategy call, but it just didn't quite work out unless we get punctures. That's not out of the question. It shouldn't happen, but it's not out of the question. Devon Young just missing out on DRS at the moment. Does he have the straight line advantage? He has a bit, but not really enough to actually catch up at the later stages, which Terence, he does. He's got some battery to be able to use. Now, DRS not available right now. He will catch up a lot in the corners, and he'll continue to catch up in the middle sector. But lap 26 out of 27, we are on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix here. It's not going to be easy. Robbo leads for the EU drivers. Peanuts in P2, Terence in P3, and then we've got this man with Becken behind, chasing down. You can see he's pushing the limits on the exit, losing the car. Now DRS is available. Only one DRS straight available though, so it is really up to confidence in the corners and a big toe down the back stretch. But if you don't have any energy, you can't do it. Terence might have the advantage here with track position. He just needs to play it right, and he can actually hold on to this spot. It's not going to be easy with these tyres. 10 lap difference. We'll see how it goes. The overtaking opportunities are imminent. Devon Young getting a phenomenal exit. You can see the state of the tyres from Terence are absolutely horrendous. Nothing that he can do about it. He's just got to drive that car, and he is doing a phenomenal job of it, of course. Devon Young on the exit, getting the toe, tucking in. Where will Becken come out of this? Is he going to try and make that move as well? I don't quite know. Terence is just going to stay as he is, go slightly defensive but not fully, and I think he might be able to hold on. No, goes defensive to the inside line, and then he's going to look for a switchback. Becken might have a go here as well. There's contact as he's delayed on the exit with those bad tyres. Very much expected. He's going to spin out the Grand Prix. Becken's going to go through. They've both got DRS, and it's drag race down the line. This is going to be incredible. Devon Young to the inside. They're so close. Almost contact. Up through turn 2. On the exit, the McLaren loses the car, and Devon's going to go through, just about avoiding taking each other out of the Grand Prix there. That was absolutely nuts. Devon Young up into P4, hard fought, makes it work. Absolutely incredible driving. Terence, it's P6 now. It's such a shame. He gave it his best shot. I think we all knew what was going to happen with these tyres. Very well done to him to be able to keep that out of the wall. These guys are still going to be fighting, however. This is going to be a very, very interesting fight up to the line. We'll see how this one goes. They will get a last shot at making a good overtake, will Becken. He's got a bit of energy to be able to use. Will it be enough? I'm not gonna lie, I don't think so. Devon was incredibly quick when he needed to be on that straight right there with the start-finish straight, both having DRS. He just had a bit of a toe on the exit. Becken pushing to the absolute maximum, using the energy. Down the straight they go. Devon Young has the advantage. We go through 130R. Is he gonna get a toe? It's not gonna be possible. No safe overtake in the end. It's gonna be Dave Raptors winning on return. Robbo for the F1.5 EU drivers, and Peanuts getting a crucial P2 for the EU drivers over his teammate. Then we get Becken, who gets in front of Devon Young, who's had an issue. What happened to Devon Young? What happened to Devon Young? I didn't see that. I did not see that. Becken is going to get in front. Terence, Devon Young down to P6. On the exit of the chicane, it must have been. Maybe contact was made there. And he loses out. Terence gets in front. McLaren and Aston Martin are loving today, and that is, what a shame. What a shame for Devon Young. He fought so hard in that race. Absolutely mental, but didn't get rewarded. And I would like to see what happened at the end, but we won't be able to. But we have to look at this man. What an incredible drive. That was absolutely awesome from Robbo. Incredibly proud. He's taken that victory today and really doing some good work for McLaren himself and Beckham. They're going to be catching up nicely in the championship. He is a little far back, of course, in the drivers, but not majorly far back. It would be very incredibly difficult for him to be able to get a P1 in the championship. The constructors is always on the cards. Dave Raptors gets the win today. Robbo in P2. Then we got Peanuts, Beck and Terrence, Devon Young, followed by Senna, JJ the fastest lap, and Yarmir in P9. DNFing earlier on was Tom Brainer, unfortunately. Now we go through the race director just in case if we need to, and then we'll go through the pit stop section, and we'll be back for the post-race interviews. We'll see you in a bit. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the post-race interviews of the Japanese Grand Prix. That was a crazy one, as it always is with Suzuka. We start the interviews with Robbo. Robbo, that was a nice close battle at the beginning, and then at the end, strategy came into play, and you got it right.
Yeah, as you said, the start was really, really close. Me just sort of sticking behind Devon, staying within DRS. He was running a very low downforce setup, or he was just really good with his ERS usage. But after the safety car came in, we had a few laps, and Dave sort of posed the question, like, can we not just stay out? And I think we did some quick maths to see what the percentage, and we thought it would be around 80% at the end, and we were pretty close. Luckily, the tyres didn't really wear off that much, as in pace-wise, the balance of the car was still there, which was really important in Suzuka, especially in the first sector. So I was pretty much just DRS behind Dave, save ERS, and then burn it every now and then. And it seems this time pitting, although I think everyone after the safety car thought they were going to pit again, it probably wasn't the right option. So luckily, I guess, in a way, or strategically, chose the right one. Didn't pit, and happy with second win of the season.
Awesome. Yeah, as of course, Dave Raptor's a high-tier driver, you get that maximum point, so well done indeed. Fastest lap was taken away, but other than that, you got maximum points. Qatar, it's a crazy circuit. Do you like that one? Do you think you can maybe go well there again and bring McLaren closer to the constructor fight?
Yeah, I think Qatar is one of those tracks where I'll be at the top, but I don't feel like I'll be the fastest driver there. So it will probably be whether I can work my way up to the top using the DRS, having a few fights, and we'll see how it goes. But it's not a bad track. And yeah, I'll look forward to it, and just need to make sure I stick within the track limits. And that will probably, go towards me if I am able to do that.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well said. And we'll see you next time. Congratulations. Well done today.
Thank you.
And welcome back to F1.5 Dave Raptors, getting a win, making it look easy. Well done today. Even despite disconnection issues, you did a very good job. And you were another one that made a very good call on the tyres. Can you take us through your race?
Yeah, it was actually a very slow start, as I've not been on the F1 games much recently, so it was kind of just bringing myself up to speed from the start. I got quite lucky with the safety car, I feel, because I kind of got left out of the RS training. I was just trying to pick my way through some cars at the start, and then I found myself in P4, which is quite lucky. Because I think some people had to double stack, so I was right up there with the top flight there, and then obviously with the strategy call. I think I was thinking of pitting, and then I was like, we can just get it to the end, and I felt like we'd lose less time if we could just get to the end without pitting around this track, because pit lane's not exactly small, and I don't think you gain too much around this track between old mediums and fresher mediums. So I was like, we just may as well stay out. Obviously paid off. It was very close towards the end. I was almost 8%, so it was touch and go. But yeah, it's just nice to come and race with some of the tier 1.5 guys. It's always nice just to come and have a little battle with them, even if it's not too serious.
Awesome. Yeah, well said. Good to see you back in F1.5, and you got another win again. So well done. The pace hasn't gone away, of course. Qatar, whether you're going to be there or not, is that a good circuit? Do you like that circuit more than Suzuka?
It's very hit and miss for me, but I think the issue I have is the fact that I struggle with setup around there. I think the track's really nice and it's really flowing, but setup can be a really big issue, because you either go low downforce and you can have a lot of pace on the straights but lose a lot of time to the corners, or you go high downforce and you can do quite well in qualifying, but then in the race you're getting cooked. So I think it'd be a very interesting one if I can make it, with which way I go with the setup, really, and I think that's going to be the ultimate factor in the race.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well said. And we'll see you next time. Congratulations today. Well done.
Cheers.
And we move on to Peanuts. Peanuts, It's not the win, but it's a pretty good result considering the championship. You go back into the lead of the championship, and yeah, I don't know what to say. At the beginning, it was looking quite difficult, and you got the pace back up again, and then it kind of dropped back, but you got the strategy right as well.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying I needed a break. Last time in Belgium, I felt like that was my win. It was. I felt like I could have won that one. I was far up there, and then events happened. Devin won, but I can't thank Dave Raptors enough because I was gonna pit, and then he was like, "Boys, I'm gonna cook right now," and then he just was, "We're staying out. We're staying out." So I mean, I was questioning it, but I realized really early on that I did not have the pace to rival Devin there. So I was like, oh well, I'm gonna need some luck here, which I'm just pleased that it worked out, to be honest.
Yeah,
really happy.
I mean, yeah, it's brilliant for the championship for your sake. Also, Aston Martin getting some very strong points, both of you, brings you up there. Qatar, heavy down, or not, well, I say heavy down, I think it's heavy downforce, high speed, I should say, and heavy fuel consumption. Is that a circuit that suits you? Do you like it?
Yeah, no, a lot more than Japan. I've tried to tell myself that I absolutely love Japan just to keep myself motivated to try to be as quick as possible. The problem for me with Japan at the beginning was I was changing my brake bias every corner, which kind of overloaded my system because I was like, oh, I need change here, I need change there, and then it was a little too much. So some of the corners I was looking down while turning.
Right. Okay.
And it was a difficult one from the beginning. And then the second people started boxing, I was like, I'm sticking to 54 brake bias. I'm not changing this. And then I was on the pace as a top runner, so I was pretty pleased. But back to Qatar. Qatar is a great track, a lot better than Japan, in my opinion, racing wise. It will be a fun one.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Really well done today, and great result.
Yes, and I just want to shout out Terrence for a great result today. I mean, dude was as quick as me.
Yeah, he did a phenomenal job. And talking about Terrence, we move on to the man. He has done a phenomenal job today. Terrence, are you happy with that one? Obviously, losing the positions to the other guys who went for that undercut, but you did manage to get in front of one of them in the end after, I don't know what happened, I didn't get to see it, but that is a pretty good result, and you catch up to Red Bull in the Constructors.
Yeah, that's the job I need to do, and I may apologize for my fault at the 26 laps while I'm defending, but actually I lost my car there.
Yeah,
you can see. Yeah, but the photo,
very well held, by the way. Very well held.
Yeah, yeah. Why? How did I didn't crash? Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy that because the time management is not as well as I expected, and then last lap I got a punch as well, so it's still a good result that I can help the team have a constructor standing. Yeah, and also it's incredible that I do the same pace at Peanuts as my teammates. So yeah, happy with that one.
Yeah, I mean, you did a phenomenal job. You've had great pace in races before. You've won a Grand Prix as well, Belgium, of course, last season, and you were showing basically equal pace with the guys earlier on in the DRS train to begin with. So yeah, you did a phenomenal job and really well deserved today. Qatar, do you like that circuit with all the flowing corners? Is that something that suits you?
Yeah, I love that the kind of corners where I wouldn't get the car out of the white line and keep within the track. So maybe the penalty advantage that I got will be make me get a little bit up of the place.
Awesome. Thank you. And well done today. Awesome result. We'll see you next time.
Oh, thank you, Aaron.
And we move on to Tom Brainerd. Tom, that's not the race you wanted. The pace, it was close at the beginning in the battle, very intense. But what happened? What went wrong?
First of all, thank you for praising my pace, but it wasn't there today. And then at the accident, I don't really know what happened. I think there's a bumper just before the curb on the exit, and I jumped over it. I had literally zero control over my car at that moment, and then just flinched away from the curb. That was like 1-2 seconds where everything I was doing did nothing to my car. So pretty hard to say what I could have done to avoid it. Really, really unlucky. But I would say that I wouldn't deserve a lot of points today because my pace wasn't that good.
Do you think Qatar will be better? Do you like that circuit more than Suzuka?
I definitely like it more than Suzuka. It's a really nice and flowy track with quite some high-speed corners, which will suit me there more than the S section here.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the advantage that there aren't as many elevation changes, so I don't get to be bumped into the walls.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard drive against the time penalties. But I think it will be better for me than this weekend.
Awesome. Well, hopefully it goes well for you there, and it's a shame to see you in the wall, but you gave us a good fight whilst you were on track, of course. Thank you very much, Tom, and we'll see you next time. And we move on to Devon Young for the final time. Devon, that was a tough old race. Not exactly how you wanted it to go. You were looking strong in the beginning. After the safety car, things started to change a little bit, and then, maybe the wrong strategy call. Can you take us through your side of the race?
Yeah, I think you said it quite well. Like the start was going pretty good. I was like, well, obviously I was leading, and yeah, I mean, I was controlling it. I think quite a bit. And then yeah, safety car came out. Went into new mediums. It was the exact same lap as F1. The safety car. So I thought immediately I was just like, okay, I'm just going to copy the strategy of the front runners yesterday, what they did, because that was clearly the strategy. And it was much quicker than staying out on the medium. So that was my plan straight away. And then, yeah, safety car went in. I think I was leading for most of it until I pit. Maybe a few battles with Robbo. And then, yeah, I pit for softs. I think like the same lap as the front runners yesterday. And then it just wasn't a strat. I don't know what happened. Like maybe I'm just crap and I didn't have the pace that the guys yesterday did, and I just wasn't catching. Like I don't really know how. So I'm kind of disappointed. I'm a bit confused really of how I wasn't catching. I think if I didn't do that race yesterday, I definitely would have stayed out on the mediums because that's what I would have thought the strat was. But yesterday told me differently, and then I did it, and it just it just didn't work. So it's unfortunate. And then at the end, I was battling with, I got past Terrence and I was battling with Beck in the last lap, and unfortunately, he made a mistake into the last corner and rear-ended me, and I lost the car. I went into the gravel, and Terrence got past, including Beck, and so that's unfortunate. So yeah, I don't know what I can do. I'm more confused than disappointed, though, I would say.
Was it understeer or oversteer with the tyres, or were you just didn't know where the pace was? You just couldn't quite find it. No problems, just not quite there.
I just don't think it was there. Like I was driving good. I was driving how I had been but I just wasn't catching them. Like, I don't know why. The difference didn't seem as much as it was yesterday.
Right.
Whether that's me just not being good, I don't know. But like this, I feel as if I thought that it was going to be bigger, but it wasn't. So maybe it was together with the fact that Robbo and Dave Raptors just sort of pulling each other a bit. Probably wasn't going to catch them, but I don't know. I don't know what happened. I'm confused, but it's whatever.
Yep.
Game's a game.
Something to look into, of course, for sure. Qatar, that is a crazy circuit. Very difficult to drive. Do you think you can come back there and get some good results?
Yeah,
Sprint race as well. More points.
Sprint race, yeah, that's good. Like, well, that could be a bad thing, but it's I don't know. I want to like it. Like it's fun. I think qualifying is really fun. But then the race is it just seems like it's just you sat behind people for the entire race, and everyone's waiting till the last lap because the moves just aren't very easy to make. So it can produce some good racing though. So I'm looking forward to it. Sprint race should be good as well. Everyone's going to be quite aggressive. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well said, and I hope it goes well for you next time. Well done today. Great effort.
Thank you.
And that's been it. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you next weekend for the Qatar Grand Prix. It's going to be a sprint race. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you on Tuesday. Or I should say see you next Tuesday for the open lobbies. Have a good one, and bye-bye.